Well, George Morris, a pleasure to see you here at Oxo's gym in Essex. Yeah, I mean, where do we start? Obviously, it's the first time that we've had the pleasure of interviewing you. It's your first fight in the Quest Boxing League on Saturday, June the 29th, and you're kind of stepping right into the sort of the fire. This is a fantastic fight in prospect for the league's fans that don't know you. Obviously, you're 18 years of age, outside of the Quest competition, 4 fights, 4 wins. And I know from speaking to your coach, John Ox, he's very excited about yourself and, the progress you've made since you joined the stable. But on June the 29th, you're going to be up against Haarris Mirza. Very similar in the fact that, similar record, similar age, exciting fighter. And we managed to get a few glimpses of you training there ahead of the fight, which is just over or just under 3 weeks' time. So, yeah, for the league's fans that know nothing about George Morris, tell us a little bit about your journey into boxing.
Yeah, so I've boxed out of Ware for a good maybe 9 months, and then I've been down to Oxo's for probably about 6 months now. We've had 3 fights out of this gym, all wins. The training here is just very unique. It's better than anywhere else I've been. It's very precise with all the different aspects. We do footwork all the way down to our neck training. Everything's very different here, which is why I think I'll be better than Haarris. I'll be better than anyone else I've fought so far. And all my fights have been very entertaining, I'd say. That's what I've been told at least. So that's what I expect for the 29th.
Yeah, well, I mean, I saw you, like I say, being taken on the pads from John and Julian, and, I've got to say, I was tired watching it. It just seemed to go on and on in terms of your engine was phenomenal. But, when I've seen the kind of footage of you see outside of Quest, you do have that kind of real, I won't say kind of Mexican style, but you've got that relentless, just literally come forward, throwing punches. I caught a glimpse of a couple of left hooks in there, which sort of, I was listening through the monitor, and wow, the sort of the crack that those hooks were sort of resonating throughout the gym was unbelievable. But I think, like I say, this fight, and I know your coach kind of echoes this, has the potential to be fight of the night for sure. With your style, with Haarris Mirza's style, I think it's going to be electric. So where do we start? Let's have a chat about your training, because obviously this is a big fight, a step up in class, and a very, very exciting sort of opponent. So for you, what do you know about Haarris Mirza, who you'll be fighting on June the 29th?
I've seen, I think it might have been his last fight on Quest. He boxed a good lad, he won. It was an interesting fight to watch. He looked like maybe gassed out a little bit towards the end, which work rate here is a big thing. We work it every time. I won't leave the gym unless I'm sweating. So I'd say unless he's improved that, he's going to struggle. But I'd say he looks like he's going to be a slick fighter. He's obviously training hard. I've seen a little bit of his socials, but we'll just see on the night. There's not too much you can know, because I think his last fight was a little while ago, but everyone's improved. I've improved. I'm sure he has, so it'll be a good fight.
You picked up on there, and like you say, in his 2 fights to date in Quest Boxing League, obviously he fought Josh Ansari and he fought Charlie Lambert, and one of the things that the ringside team picked up on, and obviously myself ringside watching it, is that towards the latter stages of the fight, the tank did seem to empty, and he did seem to kind of struggle a little bit. So strong early on in the fight, but obviously faded towards the end. So when you're watching that, obviously I touched on it a moment ago about your work rate. To me, that would be something like my work rate, my sort of the pressure that I'm going to put on him. I can see that as being a real advantage. But is that how you would see it? Yeah,
I'd say my work rate is probably one of my strongest aspects. It's something I've always focused on heavily. I've always made sure I'm working as hard as I can, because, like you say, if you're in front of a fighter all the time, it is going to tire him out eventually. So if I can at least control that, I can push myself as hard as I can, and I can make sure I have a better fitness, then it's definitely going to be a big aspect of the fight.
I know you're training alongside a number of fighters in the gym, a few of them that have been on, obviously, Quest before. You've got the likes of Jacob Stevens, who's also challenging for a belt on the same night up against Freddie Cullen. So I know that, there's a John Ox and Julian here produce some fantastic fighters, but what have you sort of taken away from the success of the gym? I mean, and have you been given kind of any advice from the guys who've sort of been in the competition before and sort of told you a little bit about what Quest and what to expect?
Yeah, I've definitely heard a lot of praise about Quest of everyone that's boxed there. So it's very professional, better than a lot of different events that everyone's been to. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. Yeah, I suppose all the advice they give you is just to keep the nerves in and put on the show. But I mean, I'm usually not too nervous going into fights because it's all in the training. We make sure we train here, and like I say, John always ensures we're all completely ready to fight, and I know I'll be ready. So I don't have too many nerves going into it, but I know it's going to be a great fight.
And what's camp been like for you overall?
Camp's not really stopped since I've joined. We've been working as hard as we can. We've had a few fights recently. Last one was just a couple of weeks ago. So my fighting fitness has been up. I'm continuing that, going into the last few weeks now. So camp's been very strong. A lot of different things which I'm sure Haarris won't have been doing. But overall, all the pad work, all the fitness, all the endurance training, I'm sure it'll be enough.
Yeah, there's a lot of sayings in boxing, where they talk about, the fight is won and lost in the gym, not in the ring, as in on the fight night. So, and it's all about, more sweat in peace, less blood in war. So, lots of different sayings that I've heard over the years. But I know that John won't put any of his boys, any of his fighters, into any fight, regardless whether it's just a normal non-title fight or as a big an occasion as this, a title fight. You're boxing, obviously, Haarris over 4 rounds for the novice title, so he won't put anybody in unless he thinks you're 100% ready, and he'll be brutally honest and tell you that, you're not ready, you're not doing enough, you've got to do more. So I know that John is more than happy, more than confident that, come fight night, you're going to be in the shape of your life. So for yourself, we've touched on the kind of physical, the training side of things, but mentally, obviously 4 fights into your boxing career, how is that side of things for you? I mean, how do you sort of mentally prepare yourself to climb through those ropes on fight night and face somebody else who has the same intention as you, is, I want to take their head off?
I'd say it is definitely all in the training. I think, if you haven't trained hard enough, you can't make it up in the last week. And that's where I get my confidence from. I'd say I'm a confident fighter, but it's all in the training. We've worked as hard as we can for the past few months, which is all leading up to this, which is a title fight. So after all the training, there's no reason for me not to be confident. I'd say that's the main thing that keeps me going into the ring, and every round, the more I fight, the more confident I'll get, and that will just keep spurring me forward, I'd say.
And do you sort of play the fight out in your head? Do you kind of visualise and think, this is how it's going to go, this is what I'm going to do, when that first bell sounds, when I'm eye to eye, toe-to-toe with Haarris Mirza, I know what I want to do. I know the shots I want to throw, I just want to sort of get a hold of him. But do you kind of play different scenarios out and how you think it will play out? Yeah,
definitely. Here with John and Jules, we definitely practice many variations, different things that we think will land, different things to avoid. And with all of them into mind, I'll make sure I've got them in the back of my head during the fight. And I'll always be thinking of what to slip, what to throw next. And that's definitely going to be a big factor as well.
And for yourself, obviously it's your debut in Quest, but you're at that level. It's the perfect fight for both you and for Haarris. But for you to climb through those ropes and then leave as the champion, try and kind of put into words how you think that would feel.
No, it'd be exhilarating. It'd be very exciting. It'd be great for all my friends to come and see, especially my family as well. Everyone's going to be excited. Everyone's up for it. I'm definitely up for it. I know I'm ready for that. I've been training for it. The whole time since I've started boxing, I've wanted to have a belt around my waist, so finally, maybe that'll come. We'll just see.
Well, I know it's going to be a really, really exciting fight, as I say. I mean, heard great things and seen great things from the footage and sort of your coach and what John's been telling me. So this, I think, is going to be one of those classic Quest fights on June the 29th. So I know you're going to do a little bit more training. I know there's still obviously a couple of weeks to go sort of before fight night. So, a pleasure speaking to you, George. And, cannot wait to see this fight unfold on Saturday, June the 29th at the Epsom Downs Racecourse in Surrey. And as I say, this is for the vacant Novice Lightweight title. George Morris, he will be taking on fellow undefeated prospect Haarris Mirza on the Too Hot to Handle show at the Epsom Downs Racecourse. And fight fans, what a fight we have got in prospect.